gotta look away when you're staring me down with daggers. I'm not sure what to say, but no matter what, it don't matter. The chemical light got me wide-eyed this time. I touch your tongue tied, go ahead and make up my mind. Ooh, lips are turning blue, chemicals in you, trying to take me out of my body. Ooh, with the Panasonic view, looking right through me, you're gonna take me out of my body. Out of my body. I don't know how you do it, yeah, but there's a rhythm in the room and I can't keep up. Or do you feel it moving? A bit of bitters in the wound, yeah, it feels like us. The chemical light got me wide-eyed this time. I touch your tongue tied, go ahead and make up my mind. Ooh, lips are turning blue, chemicals in you, trying to take me out of my body. Ooh, with the Panasonic view, looking right through me, you're gonna take me out of my body. Out of my body. If it's alright, won't you say why? Know you got plans, but I got the time. Heard you told a friend, now I gotta mend a little bit more than we like to pretend. If it's alright, won't you say why? Tell me your sins and I'll tell you mine. Heard you told a friend, now I gotta mend. Give it a try, baby, pull the pin.
A sickening crunch, and a man comes to consciousness again inside a red stone tower. How many times? How long had it been? Besides him, a comrade gasps, reforming instantaneously in a sigil of blue light, and curling onto his side, hands clutching his stomach. Parts of him, once on the outside, now on the inside, slither back into place as he begins to weep. He couldn't feel pity for him. His own mind was exhausted, and his sanity, he only had the strength now to cling to the remnants of his own identity, which took the form not as himself, but as the name of his wife, of his child. He felt the shattered bones of his back slot back into place, and the dulled feeling of agony returned to his lower body as he rose to his feet. Approaching the window, he looked out towards a mass of black tendrils, a body, mindless and ever-evolving. Gripping his spear, he looked down towards his arm, where a small black ring of tendrils pulsed just beneath the skin. And as lightning begins to crackle up his arm, towards a face with two glowing purple eyes, we return to the deck of an airship. Vyre. The sun set not long ago, and you and Isla find yourself nestled in a quiet nook just off of the main deck. A small, simple stew and some bread has been brought around as sort of an evening meal. And though she eats it with a kind politeness, you can tell it's not quite to her taste.
Oh dear. Okay, yeah. I'd kind of sit down. Have I tried this food? Is it good?
You've tried it. To you, it's pretty good. It's a warm meal. It's hearty. It's like, it's a little on the bland side, but for you, that's most foods.
What did you say it was again? A stew?
Yeah, just a stew. It's got sort of potatoes, carrots, the kind of things that you'd find in a sort of homely stew. Very rustic.
I enjoy it, and I smile to myself watching them, like, kind of.
Like every time they catch your eye, they give you like a smile and a nod, like mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'll just be like, not bad this stuff, huh?
Not bad. It would be an adequate term for it.
If it's gonna be like this the entire time, I might just be able to start relaxing.
It's a little plain for my taste, if I'm honest. The food's quite spicy where I come from.
Oh, where exactly is that?
That's over by Sunspear sort of way.
Sunspear?
We're all into sort of, spicier, hotter foods over there. That's kind of the vibe over there.
I'm gonna let you know right now that this is the furthest I've ever been from home.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. This is a proper adventure for you then.
It really is. I look around and again I just marvel in the beautiful sight I'm imagining of just being like up in the clouds.
Yep, and it's just gone sunset, so while the sky is like dark and starry, you can still just see sort of like the pinks and purples ebbing away from the clouds beneath you.
It must be pretty special, this. What did you call it? Sunstar?
Sunspear.
Sunspear. If you're not awed by these views.
Well, you get a lot of nice skies in the desert, although looking up isn't usually advised. The sun can be quite ruthless. But if this is an adventure for both of us, and she sort of rummages around in her little side bag, and she pulls out what looks like a kind of a nicely wrapped box, we should commemorate it, I think. And she unties a little ribbon and opens what looks like a small, almost box of sweets. Several are missing. There's only one left. And she pulls out this small kind of almost like mochi-looking orb, but it's made out of like this sugary, almost like fondant fruit paste. And she gives you what is a comically like tiny fork in your fingers. It's like a toothpick kind of size instrument.
Is this going to be really spicy? I say.
No. This is sweet. We grow canes for sugar there too. Here, and you see she'll sort of like dig into it and cut it, and it's like a different color on the inside, and it's shaped like a little flower. And she'll sort of like poke a small slice out of it and hand it towards you.
This is far the fanciest food I've ever eaten. And I would, very, like, it probably looks kind of silly because I'm like quite a bulky person.
Yeah, you're huge, and like this whole treat is like smaller than the size of your palm, and she's like cutting it.
Yeah, I'm just like daintily holding it between like thumb and forefinger this fork, and I'm like, thank you very much, and I try it with an open mind.
You do. It is a very like tart, like deeply citrusy, fruity taste, but not a fruity taste that you've ever tasted before. And you live in a fruit market. It's kind of like weirdly prickly, but it is sweet and it is nice.
I savor it because that sounds really nice, and
And she eats it, and you see her sort of like melt a little bit and put a hand to her cheek. That's better.
And then my eyes are like wide for a moment. I'm like, wow, that's a lot of flavour for something so small.
Isn't it? Oh, I love them. Man, if I ever head back, this will be what they're for.
So, tell me more about your homelands.
Oh, there's not really much to tell. I mean, it's a big sandy city on, the standard sort of stilts. We have arenas. That's kind of our big thing. We've got quite large dueling arenas. We get a lot of, well, the beasts out there. There aren't that many, but the ones that they're are quite hardy. It's something of a sport to sort of gather them in a little arena, and we have warriors that sort of make a spectacle out of it.
Sounds not so bad.
No, it's quite fun to watch. I've always wanted to, you know, get into it more, but my family, my mother was always wasn't really her scene. Didn't really want me getting anywhere near it, if I'm honest.
I don't know how much my mother actually wants me to be doing this, to be honest. Well, it feels like after my father missing from disappearing one of these gates, taking on the same profession, you can understand why she might be reluctant. But at the same time, she encourages me to do what I wish, and I think it leaves her torn.
It sounds nice, though, that, even though it's maybe not something she's particularly comfortable with, she wants you to be strong. Have the best opportunities.
That, I not. And I think there's a little part of her that's practical. Realizes that if I'm going to get the money I need, I'm going to have to be doing this. Either that or something less. Well, I think she'd rather me doing this than turning to a life of crime. And I'd much rather do this than a life of crime.
I don't think you'd be a very good criminal.
I don't know, I think I'd be pretty good.
You tried to return me a tip.
Well, that's because I'm not a criminal.
So, can you... she kind of looks you up and down for a second. Are you much of a fighter? You seem quite strong.
I've had training to a degree. I can fight if I have to, but there's not that much need for it down in the low town, thankfully. Not these days. And well, I don't have a weapon of my own. But give me a big, chunky weapon, and I can sure swing it.
That sounds brilliant. I've always wanted to learn how to shoot. A bow. I've never been allowed to get near that kind of stuff before, but I crave it. They look so cool in the arenas.
So is that your end game?
I think so. Well, not specifically the arenas, just I'd like to learn how to use a bow and... I don't know. The gates are so fascinating. I want to explore them. I want to help.
I nod. They are... oh wow. Intriguing, to say the least. Dangerous. Very. But I've heard there's a beauty to them that isn't quite matched by this place.
Well, perhaps we can explore them together. As you can see, I have no bow on me at present, so maybe having someone who knows how to throw a punch or two might be a good idea. I'm sure I could make myself, I could probably carry some things. Or be just good company. She's sort of like awkwardly rubbing her cheek.
Don't you worry, I'm sure if you want to hang around me, that wouldn't be a problem.
That would be nice.
I'm sure you've read more books than I have anyway.
That we can probably count on.
That we probably can.
You, I don't think I ever got around to knowing what your ability was.
I could say the same thing.
Well...
weren't you going first?
No, I think you were going first. I did insist.
Well... You were going first. You told me you were a chronomancer, and then we got cut off.
That's true, that's true. Okay, fine. So I haven't really got the hang of it. I've only really... Well, I had the ability per se before I showed up to the tests. And I've sort of been figuring it out ever since. It's a little overwhelming. I sort of see things. I'm not sure if it's... And she kind of like looks at you a bit conspiratorially. I don't know if it's the future or if it's my predictions of potential outcomes. But I can
futures, then.
Sort of, yes. I can sort of... Oh gosh, it all gets blurry, and if I hold on hard enough and try to align them, I can sort of make one clearer than the others.
And do you have any visions now?
Oh, no, I kind of have to, you know... She kind of finger guns you. I kind of have to lock in. If I had it on all the time, God, it would give me a headache. It's hard to keep my wits about me when I'm using it normally.
I nod. I can... Let's do a test then. You see, I have an ability as well. Sorry, it's just... I trust you. But you must promise not to tell anybody else.
Of course. My lips are sealed.
My ability is an artificer. Or at least artificial nature. Which I'm told... Actually, do I know that canonically?
You know the colours.
Okay.
You don't also know the categories.
My colour was burgundy-ish, if that makes sense.
The other pink.
Yeah.
The pink that's not the main pink. The purpley one. The, you know.
Yeah, it was changed to burgundy a few years back. When it was classified. But the idea was that well, it's... Sorry, I don't know why I'm getting so flustered about this. I seem to be able to change the odds of outcomes, a little bit like you, I suppose.
Oh.
But the primary focus of the ability is to focus on an object. And then I can either create a duplicate of the object or delete the object.
Oh. Well, that would have been nice to know before I cut this cake in half.
Yes, well, there is a bit of a problem, you see. I don't have control as to whether it's double or if it's, you know, nothing.
I see.
It seems about 50-50. At least that's my guess. I know I've seen it in a pure form, having complete control over whether or not something is doubled or something is destroyed. That seems like an extremely powerful ability. But right now, I've got my work cut out. But remember how I said I can manipulate the odds of things? Well, that does also affect the primary part of the ability.
Oh, so you can control it a little bit then?
A little bit, but something tells me I'll need to work on that quite a bit before it's particularly safe to use.
It sounds like we both need a lot of practice.
Well, my question to you is, how precise are your visions? Like, if I were to use my ability, could you make it more likely for it to go one way than the other?
I don't know. I mean, what I see is so blurry and it's somewhat grasping at straws. I have found some things are harder to do than others. the more specific I try to get, the more difficult it is for me to sort of realign things. Maybe we could. It's worth trying.
I think it's worth trying too.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm going to, like, nod to her, and then what should I do? Do we have anything?
You have half of the little cake thing.
Yeah, I pick up that half of the cake, and I say,
Mm-hmm.
should we use this?
Sure. I can live without it, worst comes to worst.
There are some constraints on what I can use. This isn't magical, nor is it living. And it's certainly tangible. So shall we get this to work?
And she puts down the little fork and sort of shuffles so that she's sat sort of like back to the sort of open doorway that leads onto the deck, sort of shielding this little cubby you guys are in from view. And she sort of like rubs her hands together and holds them out, almost to like frame an image to help her focus.
I like that. That's so cool. That's a cool visualization. That's really neat. So she's just like focusing in on
the little cake on your hand, this little half a cake.
That's a really cool ability, actually, because you can, if you frame it using your fingers, then you can get. That's really neat. I like that. Assuming that's how that works, like you see a vision of what you see through the frame.
You have no idea?
I don't know, but that would be cool with Spark if it was true. Because that adds a bunch of interesting depth. Yeah, that's neat. Tell me when.
All right. One moment then. And you see she sort of takes a deep breath, and you see almost like a blue sheen come over her eyes for a moment. It doesn't stay, but it almost like flashes across. And then a small blue glow form around the sort of two L shapes. And you see her eyes immediately start sort of like flicking about on your hand, trying to make sense of stuff.
Mm.
Okay. I think I can do things. I'm not gonna lie. Maybe not the best of outcomes. But I think I could do something.
Should I do it?
I wouldn't recommend it. I think I might only be able to pull it the less appealing way, if I'm honest.
I nod. Well.
I see a lot of empty space on your hand. She seems a little disappointed.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna just roll the D100 and see if she was right.
Yeah, go for it.
Oh, dude, she was so right. I rolled a 19.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. She can see the future.
You gotta manifest.
Yeah, I was like, so I know, yeah, impressive. Well, that's probably useful. I wonder.
It always, I think, struggles on other people's abilities quite a lot. But for mundane things, non-magical things, it tends to work all right. Like, I'm sure if you were trying to, gosh, I don't know, dance maybe, I could make sure you don't miss a step.
Interesting. Well, that's a fun ability.
Thank you. Yours is amazing.
Well, what's very interesting here is I pull out a piece of paper and I start like writing it down. So I say like, I'm just like mumbling this out loud. I'm like hoping she's listening.
Oh, she is. She's enthralled.
If each time I use the ability, there's a roughly 50% chance that something either does appear or disappears, or doubles or is destroyed. I'm trying not to say the entire phrase because I think that might accidentally activate it.
Oh no.
But when you use your ability, if I have an intent to make something work with one object, and you see that it doesn't function. Then I turn my attention to a different object, and I use my ability. Does that now refresh the odds, or by checking one thing, can we confirm that it's the next use that is nothing? Do you understand what we're trying to test here? Whether it's random per object or random per use.
I think I understand.
The best way we could test it would be if we had... well, I have an idea. I turn and say, are you willing to try again?
I can give it a go, yes. It only really... Well, it gets a little draining after I do something big, but lots of little small things don't seem to bother me.
Well, just tell me if you need to stop. I take out, because the only thing I have on me are 6 gold coins. On the palm of my hand, I put 6 gold coins in a line. I look at the first of the gold coins, and I intend to use double or nothing on the first of the 6 coins. Tell me if I'm more likely to double it than I am to not.
I'm not quite sure that's... It's not quite a definitive thing. It's kind of... I can see an outcome where you both double it and it disappears, but they're so... It's almost like a haze, and they're overlapping, and knowing how to distinguish them is difficult. It's more that I can sort of take one of them and make them more tangible than the other.
I nod. And which one could you make more tangible currently?
The one that makes it disappear, I'm afraid.
I nod. Then I look at the second coin and ask her the same question.
Well, it's the same thing. It's a little hard to tell if, if it's because it's the same. It's in a different place, the little blurs, but it's quite a similar object.
And you're still more likely to delete it than to double it.
Yes, I think so.
I repeat this for the remaining coins, and I assume the answers are the same.
Yes, you gauge that though individually this may be changing, she might only have the power at the moment to physically empower a option that has like less magic invested in it. Taking something away seems to require less energy than bringing new matter into the world, which her ability is not gauged for. She's not a artificer.
This is very good news, I say. And I put my coins into the back into its little coin pouch. Think of it like this. Right now, with the gold coin as the focus, deleting it would be a bad thing. But what about an opponent's sword?
Oh. And you see like a sudden, almost devious smile sort of pull out her lips. Well, that would be quite effective.
Indeed it would be. It wouldn't be that problematic if it doubled, but you can make it more likely that their sword will be destroyed, and then they'll be unarmed. That's very useful.
Thank you. Oh. Well, that's fun.
Yeah.
I wonder what else we can use it. Like you can see, like she sits there for a moment, and the scheme sort of like across her face as she just thinks about the possibilities before sort of leaning back against her little like satchel that she's propped up in the corner. Do you know if it works on spark shards?
I don't think so. It's something that only works on non-magical things, and I'm assuming that the sparks are magical.
That would make sense.
By non-magical, I assume we're talking about invested with energy.
Yes, we are.
Okay.
Well, that's exciting. We should definitely play with that more once we land. I think we have a few more hours before we get there. She said we'd be traveling overnight. Probably best we get some rest.
Can't tell if that was a real yawn or not. I like go away. I think he nods and says, I think you're right. Better get some rest now. Who knows what's coming? I suspect the camp is going to be pretty busy. I mean, how many people do you reckon are on these airships? Must be quite a few.
I don't know that. I think there are, but she kind of looks at her arm and you see a sort of similar leather-bound bracelet with a little white bead on it.
Mhm.
I think we've been sort of divided up by how recently we've, bonded to a reflection. So I'm not sure all of the ships are going in the same direction. I think some of the other bands might be splitting off to different gates.
That makes
But
sense.
it means we'll be on the same footing as everyone. So that'll be good.
Especially because you cheated.
Hey, I didn't cheat. I'm still learning. Besides, it was completely by accident.
I'm sure it was. Well, interesting experiments. Now I just need to get my hands on more spark.
And you both sort of like settle in. She sort of uses her bag as a little bit of a pillow, and I assume you do the same. And you lay there for a moment, silence sort of occasionally interspliced by just like small giggling. It's clearly she's enjoying this adventure. But just as sort of sleep is beginning to take over you, you hear very distantly a bell.
I open one eye.
Yeah, you open one eye and she too sort of like tilts her head. It's not a loud bell, it's a distant bell from one of the other ships. Just a quiet ding 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 ding.
What does that mean?
No idea. Wanna go check it out?
Probably for the best. Yeah, I flip myself up, grab my pack and everything.
Yeah, you step out of this like little cubby where you've settled. You see there's not immediate panic, but people are sort of like especially the deck hands are moving around. Not a lot of the people who were traveling with you are above deck. They've sort of like gone below deck a little bit.
I call out to one of the ship hands.
Yeah, you see one of the ship hands is sort of like by the railing. They've pulled out like a long sort of spyglass looking contraption. Definitely something more mechanical than you've seen living in Dea Grace. And he seems to be like looking in the direction of one of the other ships.
What's he doing? I say to what's her name? Sorry, Isla.
Isla gives you a shrug. Looking? As I assume you sort of walk over to them.
Yeah, well, I'm basically asking, does she know what he's holding? Because I don't think Vyre's ever seen like a mechanical spyglass.
No, she shrugs as well.
Oh, she hasn't either. Okay. Hey, what are you looking? What's going on?
There's no need to worry. One of the other ships thinks they might have seen just a small flock of beasts heading our way, but they'll probably move on by with a convoy as large as ours.
Over in the sky?
You're welcome to take a peek if you'd like. And he sort of holds over towards you the spyglass.
Wow. Weird trinket. I'm certainly going to take a look through it.
Make me a perception check at advantage.
Ooh. I certainly will. Oh my gosh.
Mhm.
I don't know why I get. I'm so into this, man. 21.
21. Yeah, you take a look and you see shifting movement, but you very quickly realize that that's like the sails of a different ship, right? One of the other ones in the convoy up ahead. Again, another distant sort of like ding 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 from one of the other ships, sort of more to the helm of this.
That's another ship, I say.
And you see they look around and see a couple people moving and sort of furrow their brow. But as you're looking through this, you spot distantly against one of the wings of one of the ships at the far corner, just a black sort of like mass move past, and you only see it because it's against sort of the white sails.
There is something out there, I say. I saw something.
And it's as you sort of like turn around, you hear this sort of screeching call and the
incredible timing on the
music. And the crunching of wood as behind you into the mast, two taloned claws followed by a set of like almost lion-like back legs just like slam into the mast of this ship, and immediately people turn around in alarm, and looking down at you from this mast is this like avian face, and you hear someone across the deck yell, "Griffin!" And you start to see more of these like black masses. You see another one sort of slam at the far side of the deck by the captain, who immediately sort of swirls around. And could you roll me initiative, please?
Oh my god. Yeah, I can.
As we enter our first combat encounter, here is your combat map.
Oh, hang on a second. Initiative is just in my decks, I think.
Suddenly, a lot of bells are going off across all of the ships, and you see people scrabbling towards a set of ballistas, and already there's of bolts being fired off by some of the other ships.
Maybe it's because I saw them coming on the spy gun. So I got 25 for my initiative.
Very fucking nice. You are solidly first in the initiative order. Looking down on you, you see a lot of these creatures as they're flying past. You're seeing speckles of like white and like brown feathers of these like eagle-esque creatures sort of begin just completely swarming the ships around you. But this one that has sort of landed above you, very dark brown, almost black feathers and a pitch black head, and it looks at you with these like yellowy orange eyes.
Okay. Where am I? I'm V. There I am.
You are V.
Well,
Isla is with you.
Okay, so I turn to Isla and go, "Oh, that's not good."
She's like, nope.
I need a weapon. I call out to like. Does the guy in front of me have like a sword or something on them?
No, they are running towards a ballista, and you see they begin sort of lifting a heavy metal bolt into this. I will send you a secondary map as you look around. You don't see any weapon you could immediately sort of grasp, and a lot of the deckhands are either running to get one from below deck or running to one of these ballistas to sort of grab it. There are yellow dots on this map. These are planks of wood or ammo for the ballistas that could, in theory, be used as an improvised weapon.
Excellent. Right. Okay, so what is the yellow dot down to my left?
Yellow dot down to your left is ammunition for the ballista.
What is that? Like a long spear?
Yeah, it's almost like a long metal bolt that, like, if you swung it with enough force, could probably be used as, like, an improvised great weapon.
How many are there? Are there, like, a few of them?
There's, like, currently there's 2 of them stacked up, and you see some more deckhands sort of, like, running towards them with a, like, bundle more in their arms. But they're sort of, they're the ones sort of, like, up by the wheel.
Okay. I think it's time to probably grab them, right? What are the ones on the sails? Are they planks?
Yeah, the ones by the sails are sort of like planks of wood.
I'm gonna take the metal things. That sounds like a good idea.
Hell yeah.
I'd say So that big one, are they like, if I hit them within melee range, or are they high up on the mast?
They're currently, you could probably get to them. They're basically slammed into wood about 25 feet up the mast. So they're like clinging onto the side of it, looking down, but they look like they're aiming to sort of pounce down.
Yeah.
And they are much larger than the other ones.
Okay. Well, I suppose it's the one I need to attack. Maybe. Alternatively, there's a hole I could jump down. I can see. If things get too spicy, maybe we jump down. Here's my big fear, right? These are birds. They're griffins, but if they grab me and throw me off the side of the ship, I'm cooked, right? So, I'd probably say, like, to tie myself down wouldn't be a bad idea, but they can probably just rip through the ropes, yeah? So... yeah.
There's something worth considering just while you're thinking.
Yeah.
To pick up one of these objects is going to be a use object action.
Okay. That's
in case that matters for you. Yep.
That is good to know, actually. So I've got some options. Mainly is Whirlpool. That's my only attack I have. But to use a Whirlpool, I need to pick up that pole. I've got 35 feet of movement, so I could go. Do I have to be on the tile to the
as long as you're within 5 feet of it.
Okay. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. I could get well within range of it after picking up the weapon, and then use Whirlpool as an action. And yeah, I think I'll do that. And I'll basically call out. I'll be like, Isla, help me out. Help me out. I gotta get his voice is like so deep. Help me out a second.
She just, you see like a fearful but almost like exhilarated nod.
Then I'm going to move 10 feet to the left. Sorry, 5 feet to the left. Pick up the weapon as a use object action.
Yep.
So this is an improvised weapon.
Yep. So it's 1d4.
Perfect. Oh, now we're cooking. So, yeah. Then I'm going to go back to where I was, so I've moved 10 feet.
Yep.
Then up diagonally 2 to the right, and then just move towards it until I'm within range.
Okay.
And then once I am within a AoE of 5 feet of it, then I will use... actually, does AoE... It does, doesn't it? It hits targets twice if it's within its range, yeah? I can't remember if... how do you rule this? This is your campaign. I just want to know.
I'm gonna say no for this technique because it's a red one. Maybe in the future if you have...
That's very reasonable. Okay.
Yep.
So I will move up to it, and I'll use my skill Whirlpool.
Wonderful. You are going to have a little bit of an issue in that it is 25 feet up.
Fuck. I will break my bonus action down into 2 reactions.
Okay.
And hold my reaction to the moment it enters Whirlpool's AoE to use Whirlpool.
Yep. Wonderful. You hold your action.
Yes, and I get points now. Thank you. I'm trying to be good at doing this. Excellent. 1 point. So tell me when I need to roll for stuff, because I obviously have to do the hit and everything.
I will. If that is your turn, we'll move on to stuff.
Yep.
So you see Captain Towler sort of begin shouting orders to the crew, and the crew begin to move. You see the sort of deckhand that you were just with sort of beginning to scrabble around and desperately sort of like begin loading these crossbow bolts. He sort of stumbles as you've sort of like yanked one, and he's sort of staggering to his feet. Two people that you don't recognize seem to like dip away into the sort of like lower decks, and they seem to be like informing people. And you watch Captain Towler. She whirls around and she goes, "Oh, fuck's sake!" And she pulls out a strange contraption, almost like crossbow-like, but it's way too compact to be a crossbow. And she turns it around, and you just hear a click and a bang as she will unload a flintlock at one of these little guys. She does. And does she hit? No, she does not.
I'll probably on my turn have like a roar to try and taunt number one.
Yeah, you've definitely got its attention. But you turn around, you see Captain Towler. She shoots at it, and it almost like flicks a wing, and it goes like wide, and this like second smaller but still very vicious-looking creature begins to sort of lunge for her. Next is number one, and it, as predicted, sort of jumps down off of this thing, but it's gonna jump. You see with a flap of its wings, it pushes off of the mask, and poof, jumps down between you and Isla. And does get within range.
Excellent. Okay. Right.
For your held attack. So it is now there and boof, at ground level.
Is there a fast way to like just click open that? Cool. Oh dang, it's kind of in like the worst spot. That's fine. I can't move anymore, but I can make my attack. So let's do that, shall we? My attack roll, as of right now, on the skill Whirlpool is 1d20 plus 5, because I trained it a lot. I put a good chunk of points into this, so let's see. Do I hit it? It's a 20 to hit.
That'll do it.
Hell fucking yeah, let's
you
go.
see it kind of, as its eyes sort of like flick between you and Isla, you see as it sort of launches itself off, its eyes sort of focusing on Isla, determining her to be the easier target, and as it slams to the ground, its back is to you.
Yeah, I give it a reminder not to turn its back on me as I swing this thing around and smack it for 15 points of damage. What type of damage?
Hell.
Whatever this thing does. Nicole, that's what it does.
It'll be bludgeoning damage.
Bludgeoning
it doesn't have
damage,
a sharpened blade. Very, very nice. 15 points. Yeah, you sort of take a sizable chunk, and you see where you expect a spray of black to sort of scatter across the red, even to scatter across the deck. There is a spray of black.
Excellent.
And yes.
Cool. It's still its turn.
Yes, it is. And it is going to take 2 of its 3 attacks.
3 attacks?
You.
Oh, shit.
It has. This one has a multi-attack.
A triple attacks. Oh, let's go.
It goes initially as it spins to sort of like swipe at Isla with her beak, and Isla sort of like is like, oh fuck, and jumps back. It then swings around to you.
An attack of opportunity. Sorry.
It then sort of like spins on its hind legs and rears up and swings out with its 2 taloned feet towards you.
Okay.
First attack is a 13 to hit.
That is a miss. However, I am going to use just a little reaction.
Okay.
Yeah, fuck it. I'm gonna make a little dodge roll, Lydia.
I don't think you need to do that if it misses.
No, but I can still, right?
Yeah, I think you can. I think it just auto succeeds.
Yeah.
I see what you're doing. Hell yeah.
I'm going to make a dodge roll because I don't want to be where I'm stood, basically. So I'm going
move.
to
Okay, I like it.
So this is my little meta. I'm gonna try dodge roll if it and move 5 feet because I have movement left over, right?
Yep.
So I'm gonna move down. I think I don't really want to be. Ooh, should I go down or diagonally up to the right? Does it say I can only move? What does it say in any direction? Any direction. I have choices.
It's any direction that you can physically move to, and you've got 5 foot.
Yeah, let's move down.
Hell yeah, you move, boof, down 5 foot.
Okay. Now, tell me if I'm wrong.
I'm assuming that means south.
Yes, south.
Okay, cool.
Now tell me if I'm wrong. That's 5 feet down. Dodge roll says against an incoming attack roll. Oh, sorry, hit roll even. Does that mean I need to declare that before you tell me if it's hit? Like for future use?
Remind me of the wording of dodge roll?
So, as a reaction, expend 5 feet of movement to roll in any direction. Make a dexterity saving throw against the incoming hit roll. On a success, you take no damage from the attack. On a failure, you take 1.5 times the damage.
Yes, so you need to tell me before we roll the damage.
Before we roll the damage, that's okay.
Yeah, you can see the attack, you can't see the damage.
Yes, but my okay, cool. So even if they miss me, I can then dodge roll still.
Yeah.
Perfect. That's lovely. Sorry, I'm just clarifying. My God, I love this skill. Excellent. Right. Well, it said it was going to attack me again.
Yeah, its second swing sort of reaches around and like goes straight across your torso for a 17 to hit. But as you do that, you hear Isla sort of call out and go, "Shit, Vyre!" And she reaches both of her hands out, and there's again like a blue flash from the other side, and you can't really see it behind the wings. But that 17 is going to turn into an 8.
Then I dodge roll again.
Yeah, you dodge roll again as wood just like as the like front forefoot sort of like goes into the wood of the decking.
Yeah, I perform another dodge roll, and I'm going to move diagonally down to the left. So
you cannot. You're out of movement.
I have 35 feet.
Oh, if you have 35 feet, then yes, you fucking can.
Yeah.
I forget, you're built different.
I'm built different like that.
You're built fucking different like that.
Yeah, but that is all my movement. But that's also all of my reactions as well, so that's why we're okay.
Wonderful.
I'm just scooting.
You are. This thing goes into the decking, you roll to the side, and it is already whipping around to face you. You see like its head almost like sink down under its leg and sort of like track you like a piece of prey. And that is its turn. Number 4 is going to move. You see it once again take off from the decking, and it is going to 5, 10, 15, 20 make a strength check against that poor guy.
No.
Which he fails abysmally. And you hear a yelp, and you see a poor sort of like deckhand lifted into the air as it's going to attempt to, was that 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. You hear a scream, and you see a body disappear into darkness as number 4 grabs and drops this deckhand off of the edge.
That's so fucking tragic.
What's more tragic is the 2 dark shapes that you see dive down behind it as it turns back to the boat.
Oh, it's feeding its young or something, maybe. That's not good. There's so many of them. Okay.
And next up is Isla, who looks terrified, and she is like, oh fuck. And I think she moves diagonally down to be next to you.
It's okay. Stay close.
And she nods, and she's like, okay, fuck. And she touches your shoulder, and you feel sort of like along your arm and up this like, not spear, but spear-esque object that you're holding. It suddenly hums with sort of like a sort of blue glow.
It's like a javelin, effectively.
Yeah, effectively.
Like a blunt javelin.
It's
just a rod.
Will assist you with her ability because she can't fucking fight, and she's going to effectively try and take cover behind you.
Fine by me.
So she is there. and she will break down her reactions. Then you see as this as number 1 sort of like turns towards you, there's a sudden ping of gold as you hear heads or tails, bitch, and this gold coin sort of like pings from across the battlefield past the mast, and as this creature sort of looks up towards the sound, a coin just strikes it dead in the head, and this thing screeches in agony.
From where?
From across the deck, where you see next to Captain Towler is a much shorter but still sort of like stocky kind of like girl about your age with sort of scrappy red-orange hair.
Is this N?
This is N, and she is like, she seems to have flicked a coin at this thing, which as it sort of like has clattered to the ground, you watch as it almost like dances on the ground spinning for a second and then whoosh, flicks back up towards her.
Hell yeah. Love that. Okay.
And you hear sort of like a jolly fucking laugh as she is gonna go, I think she's gonna just go try and fucking punch number 3. 5, 10, 15. So you watch her like ping, do this, and then sort of just like in 2 steps jump up onto like the bottom of the mast and begin to run along it. You see like Captain Towler yell something, but you can't hear it quite over the sounds of the wind and screeching. And then who's next? She sort of like gets there as Griffin 3 sort of like grasped its claws into the mast and probably like lurches forwards, and it's going to take a strike at her. This one a little smaller, so we'll see how it fares. Oh shit. So you watch her fucking go in like gung-ho with so much confidence, and she like goes to strike it, and immediately this thing just like reaches up and lances onto the arm that she tried to use to punch it. And there's just like a screech as it sort of like tears off a small scar down her arm. There's like, it's now like bleeding. She had sort of like bandages wrapped around her arm already, and they have been like cleanly ripped off and it's back to blood.
Sorry, could you repeat that just a second? What just happened there?
So N went basically with the rest of her turn up to number 3 to punch it, and then it was 3's turn, and 3 hit her.
Oh, okay.
As she was going to punch it, so she sort of grabbed the arm that she was about to lunge at it with.
Right. Okay, well, she seems fun. Guess I'll go talk to her in a bit. She lives.
So that's number 3.
Also, I've got a neat setup for doing a campaign first, Lydia. The OBS is capturing the maps.
Oh, fuck yes!
Yeah.
That's fucking hype! You are gonna 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. You're gonna hold your action. Because you see that happening. Okay, Vyre, behind you, as you're sort of like, Isla sort of stood next to you, she's just like touched your arm, you're both like focusing on this, you feel like the hair on the back of your neck stand up for a second, as you hear another like eagle like screech and the air moving as number 2 is gonna fly in and it slams into the ground behind Isla, who sort of like eeps and spins around sort of to face that one.
Mm-hmm.
And as it sort of like stands to the ground, now flanking Isla, it goes first to make a strike for her, and you hear of footsteps on the deck as this guy,
She's
5, 10,
go jump
15,
into
20,
it.
25, 30. This big fucking like guy, sort of, he is one of the few people actually padded out in armor. He's got this like shock of black hair and these like deep yellow eyes, as you hear almost like a rah as he charges behind you, sort of steps off of the railing, jumps, and he is going to use a technique, and let's see if he can fucking pull this off. Yes, he fucking can. You turn around to hear like a slam as you see Griffin number 2 is turned on its belly, grabbed by the neck, and is being like shoulder pressed into the ground, restrained, as this like huge fucking guy is just like grunting and desperately trying to hold it down.
Nice one, and I call out.
He goes, yeah, I've got this one. Just deal with the big fellow.
Oh. I can deal with both.
He's gonna just like struggle, and he is fully, with his bare hands, pinning this creature to the ground. It is restrained, so you have advantage on attack rolls against it.
Oh, you gotta love that. Okay. Wait. Actually, that's insanely good for me. Yeah, because now. Okay, cool. Perfect. Whose turn is it?
It is top of the round. It's back to you.
Well.
Because it would have been Griffin 2's turn, but Griffin 2 is fucking restrained.
Okay, so fun things about AoE attacks and why they're kind of powerful is that if you, or actually, this is something that you can rule to not be the case, but at least how it used to work in Rathadel is that if you attacked somebody with advantage, because it's an AoE attack, that's advantage, like that is the hit roll what you get, and that hits everyone, right? So if someone's restrained next to you and you attack them with an AoE sweep, then it's really good.
That's fun. I'll let that fly.
You'll let that fly? Okay, because that's how it used to work. Because otherwise we can do AoEs as individual hits per monster, but I didn't because it took ages.
No, listen, Whirlpool is a one-hit AoE. You fucking go for it.
Alright, cinema. Okay, let's do it. Let's fucking go. So first of all, I am going to use my bonus action.
Actually, it stands as well because Isla's also assisted you.
Oh, that's lovely.
You have effectively the help action.
So assumingly no double advantage. Surely not.
I mean,
I mean, of course I'll take it. I'm a player, but do you want to give it to me?
I kind of really fucking liked double advantage. It was super fucking hype, man.
Well, then give it to me, man.
It's your choice.
It's your choice. I won't force this because this is actually statistically notable.
Do you know what? Fuck it. This is a campaign about odds. Do it. Do it.
That's why I'm so excited that that's happening. Okay. Well, first things first. I use my bonus action to enter a flat-footed stance.
Okay.
Because I can.
Yep. Go for it.
Now, if I deal enough damage. Over 50% of the hostile target's maximum health, they become fully stance broken. I don't think that's going to happen, but if I get a fat crit, then maybe it will. So that's a bonus action from Unparalleled Protector, so I make a little note. God damn, that's such a good technique. Then I will use my main action, Whirlpool. So here we go. Here's what's going to happen. I target that. So that's 1d20 plus 5. Now, keep in mind, I have a critical damage threshold of 19, which means if I get a natural 20, that's a crit. If I get a 19, that's a crit, which would be a 24 in my case. So first things first, a 19, then... Ooh. Sorry?
No, carry on.
A 24, that's a critical hit.
Hell yeah.
It happens. We procced it. Let's go!
Fuck yeah.
So, that means we're doing fat damage. Only double damage, so for now. But that's huge for us. Did something else affect crits? I don't think it does. I don't think I have anything that affects crits, right?
No, you don't have anything that affects crit multiplier yet.
Yeah.
I think.
Have calculated risk. But calculated risk only is if I do that once. So that's fine. Okay, cool. So, here's what's going to happen. I will deal... how are we doing crits? It's just... Yeah, no, I know.
It's just times 2, and it's bracketed times 2.
Yeah, of course. So that is 28 damage to number 2. Is that more than 50% of its HP?
To number 2, yes.
Then they are stance broken.
Hell yeah. You sort of like, it's already like restrained, pinned down by this thing. You fully like come down, and it's not a great sword, but you hear a fucking crunch both on one of its back legs and its wing.
Genuine user question. I don't know how this works. Does, for a feature to count towards a point of comprehension, like for example, with this stance breaking, do I get a point when something stance breaks, or is it just when I enter the stance?
I think it makes more sense to
just enter the stance. That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, just enter the stance?
No, is it? Yeah. Well, like when I enter the stance.
When you attempt to use it, yeah.
Yeah. Because I don't like once I turn it on, it's on. Yeah. It's just on.
It's on, and you're taking the downside. If you're taking the downside, you get the point.
Yeah. But it doesn't. I don't get it every time it actually procs what it's doing.
Mhm.
That's fine. That doesn't bother me so much because dodge roll is so based. Okay, cool. That's fine. So in that case, second question for you. Actually, no. It just says for Whirlpool that I deal that damage. Do I have to... That is just the total damage for everything? Or do I roll damage individually?
You roll damage, I think, individually. I think it's just the hit roll.
Okay.
Oh no, wait. Sorry, I'm also remembering how this worked. Okay. I think it's a single damage roll.
Yep, that makes sense.
Because it's a single hit roll.
Yeah, single hit roll, single damage roll. I can live by those rules. So 28 damage to both 1 and 2. Is 28 damage enough to stance break number 1?
It's not.
That is perfectly reasonable. But it's still damage.
You do actually like rip up. I described it as you sort of like crunch down on its wing. As you pull back, you do fully almost like half gut this thing down the side as there's just a spray of black. Honestly, out towards Isla, who's again just a little like mortified.
Yeah, I would have just called like duck, and then I just like
what?
I imagine I like crouch down. And I swirl the rod above my head, and I like smack clean into like the head of 2, which is being like grappled, and then I continue the momentum, and I just like scratch up the side of 1, like you said, and just like the pole just goes over the top of Ida's head.
Yeah. Already, this thing's like still recoiling from the coin shot to the head, and you just manage to get it like under the beak, and it staggers backwards. Not stance broken.
Nice.
But looking rough.
Cool beans. I've used my bonus action, can't break that down. So I have 1 reaction, and I think I'm good.
Hell yeah. It's back to the crew then. The crew, now that they've loaded some of the bolts, they're going to actually take a few fucking shots at these griffins. So that will be... 1 shot towards number 3. Very fucking nice. Sorry, not number 3, to number 4. It crits. You watch as just something gets pulled back. There's almost like a clunking sound as it like is turned by these like 2 guys, and then just like a and a sickening sort of like squelching thunk as number 4 lets out a screech and drops from the sky out of your view. Captain Towler. You seeing this girl with sort of like her hand being like bitten by this creature. It's going to make a saving throw as you watch her sort of curse and tear off a glove, and she runs over and she's going to touch number 3, and it needs to succeed a save that it's not great at. 12. Nope, that won't do it. You watch her sort of slam her hand into the side of this creature, and as it like turns around, you watch as it like begins to lock up, and the side of it that's facing away from you, you just catch a glimpse of gold beginning to creep around. This is petrified.
Is this N still?
This is T. This is Captain Towler.
Captain Towler can petrify people into gold.
Yep.
My bro's probably fucking rich as shit. What the heck?
Why do you think your fucking boat's called the Golden Hand, bro? Okay. She's one hell of a fucking pirate.
Okay. Yeah, she's not. Okay.
Yeah, you see this thing begin to lock up, and more members of the crew begin to sort of scurry around. You see several other shots sort of begin to get taken off. You think one of them hits in the background, maybe one that was coming towards you.
Yeah.
You see another sort of dark mass fall out of the sky in the distance, and they begin to reload. You go below deck. You also go below deck. And you are running down to help these guys. Okay. Now it's yeah. Big Griffin has had a fucking enough of you lot. Is it gonna risk that?
Please make my day. I can only do a technique-less attack if it does that, but it could.
Not first. It's not. First, it's gonna try and fucking bite you. For an 8 to hit, which I assume misses.
That is true. It does miss.
So it sort of like swings in at your leg, and you manage to sort of like step back. It then hits you for a 22.
Aha. Okay. I thought this might happen. So a 22. That is above. Actually, annoyingly high. Okay. I actually have some defenses here. I've got 2 things I can do. 22, you say?
Yep.
Fuck, dude. If it was a 21, I could like guaranteed be fine. Fuck it. We roll. We roll, dude. I'm going to dodge roll. And this is going to be tricky. So, I have to be outside of its attack range, correct? That's how this works. So. Or is
yes.
it? So.
No, I think you can just move 5 feet.
Okay.
You just have to succeed the dex save.
Okay, cool. Yeah, sure. Against the incoming hit roll. So I'd have to get. Let's think. 21, 22. So that would be an average of 10.5 plus 5, 15.5. So I'm on average going to fail. Okay. I will. Oh, this is bad actually. Unless I just win. I will. Oh no, but that's really bad. Wait. I need 2 reactions to do most of my cheeses.
You see as this claw is coming in towards you, Isla just yells, "Dodge!"
Okay. Is she gonna? She doesn't have to intervene here. I have a list. I'm learning how all of my stuff works. I'm sorry I'm taking so long.
No, it's okay.
I can run you through my ideas, but like, I don't know.
It's alright. She used her free action to talk. She has a plan.
She's gonna dodge. Yeah, fuck it. Okay. So I am going to roll diagonally up and to the right then. And make a dexterity saving throw. +1. Sheesh.
You roll a 7. You see as you sort of like begin to push off. Again, she swings her hands around, uses her second reaction from her broken down bonus action. There's a blue flash. Your base roll is a 20.
It's a 20?
It's a 20.
That's not enough. Right?
Plus your dex.
Oh, then 26. That's enough.
Yes.
Oh my god. Hell, yeah, I roll to, I roll diagonally to the side and I evade the attack completely.
As a hand pretty viciously again comes down into stonework, and you see as it peels back, just almost like fletchings and bits of wood sort of curl up as it goes with it. And frustrated that it missed you, I think. Which way do you dodge?
I
Which
go
roll?
diagonally up and to the right.
Okay.
So...
It can't quite get down to B, so it's going to take a swing on Isla.
Interesting. Don't get hit.
And it is... it does hit. She doesn't have a reaction to pull off this last.
I don't have a reaction either, so I was open.
Isla is open. You see, as she sort of like swung around, there's like a moment where her eyes widen through the little like framing of her hands. As her claw just like opens them, and she sort of like catches the bottom of her jaw. A pretty nasty slash, and sort of like goes staggering backwards to the ground.
She prone?
She's not prone, but she's just sort of like stumbles backwards and is like visibly sort of shaken.
Oh, dude, I feel like she just got crit. Okay,
and you can see she is like bleeding pretty bad. It's not a small wound.
Okay. Well, we'll try and make sure that doesn't happen again. Next time I'll be able to. Okay. We're all good.
You hear sort of a commotion further up the boat as N is going to attempt to free her arm before the beak of this thing turns to gold.
Hey, that's a good idea.
And she, manages to sort of like pry it free. She yanks her arm back and is just going to go in and try and clock this thing, despite it turning to gold.
Okay.
15, you hear just sort of like a crunch and a metal like ding 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 as you see with a small spray of black the metal beak of this thing sort of go rolling to the ground.
She has some weird coin magic. I'm into that.
Yes, she does. 3 is down.
She have like... I'm trying to think about what coin metric could be. You said heads or tails, which sounds like a gambling ability like mine. But I also like it could be like an ultra kill style thing, you know? There's so many options. Okay, anyway, sorry, you keep on going.
Next is the guy who is holding this creature restrained.
Yeah.
He is... You see him like reach around for a second to try and grab sort of like something that is like beneath his... It's like a weapon that's strapped to his belt, and he just ends up going, fuck it, and he'll bring his fist down and just try and slam this thing.
Nice.
Because it looked pretty fucking rough, so he's gonna take the opening that you gave him. And he misses. This thing is like squirming, desperately trying to get away, and it sort of like rears its head, or at least the side of its head that isn't caved, just out of the way as he sort of like punches the ground, and he goes, and you see as his like fist makes contact with the ground, a small like shock of black sort of goes up his hand, just a small amount, and his skin there is now blackened, and you see just around his knuckles like the ebbing of like gold cracks.
That doesn't seem good. What was that? Is that like poison?
I have no idea.
Gold cracks.
I
guess we'll find out. Okay, cool. So it's the bird's turn?
It's the pinned griffin's turn, but he has disadvantage on his attack, and I seriously doubt that it'll... Oh, actually, it does manage to hit.
Who's it hitting?
It is hitting the guy who is hitting B, who is holding him down. So it deals... you see this thing, while it's pinned down, it's like its wing is gone. It's not necessarily... It almost like knows that it's fucking doomed, so it's going to take you down with it. And you see both of its claws sort of just like reach up around this guy. One of them grabs the side of his face, one of them grabs his shoulder, and it just rips downwards, and he screams in pain. And again, as it leaves these trails where you expect to see blood begin to trickle, you see this gold metallic sheen sort of like trickle, harden, and then the skin around his face begin to blacken as he almost like begins to breathe hard and enter almost a rage-like state.
Mutant, perhaps?
And Vyre, I will send you an updated battle map. It is your go.
Well, the first thing I do is expend 5 feet of movement to go back to where I was, I think.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Here's your combat map.
Because if that guy is still restrained, then you know I'm still hitting him.
You 5 foot backwards.
Yeah, are they still assisting or no?
Isla's not now, no.
Isla's
You used her assistant.
Yes. What did she do on her turn?
She used an ability to assist you.
Oh. Yes.
She used her action to more accurately.
Okay.
Because she was within 5 foot.
Sure.
She can assist you at range.
Interesting. That is very useful. But I will move right back up next to her, though, because it is convenient for my AoE. Sorry. Okay. So, I am going to go ahead and break my bonus action into reactions and use Whirlpool. Which is... Sounds like I'm doing that a lot. It is my only attack, and that's not a problem, because it's a good one. So, with advantage from the hit, that's going to be 1d20 plus 5 with advantage. For a beautiful 15 to hit. Is that enough?
15 will hit 2. It's me or B?
Yeah, me or B.
It just hits 1.
Okay, in that case, it's going to take the mundane amount of damage, which is 15 again. It takes 15 damage.
Describe me how you attack this thing.
Both or just?
It's still. Yeah, both of them. It is 2 is fucking dead. 2 is down.
So once again, I call I just go like heads as I swing. Like I am kind of I'm still in my flat-footed stance, and I crouch down, and I both hands above my head. I spin this like long metal rod. Again, I crack the bud in the head, but in the same place as last time, and I hear like this wet crack, and it just stops moving. But I keep spinning, and I slash again on the side of one. Not in the same place, but just like up and along its side again, in an attempt to try and just like fully bash it.
Yeah, feathers fucking fly, and again, there's this other like spray of black blood. Any sort of like sheen of brown that this thing had to it is just become coated in this like dark ichor. It looks terrible. It sort of staggers backwards, and you can see it's like not putting pressure on one of its front claws as it sort of like limps backwards.
Okay, cool. Interesting. I wonder. No, never mind. Does dragging someone use an action?
No, it uses your movement. It counts if they're a willing creature. Then no, it's just you move at half speed effectively.
Would it be here's a rules question for you.
Yeah.
Would it be possible to use? Oh wait, no, it's probably not possible. Never mind, it's okay. I was going to say, can I drag Isla down so that she could move away from the big bud without an attack of opportunity? But there's
you could.
But where would she stand? Is the question.
You could shove her onto the corpse of 2.
I'd ask if she wants to do that.
She's too caught up in the. She's like, what? And she's just like staring at this fucking monstrosity in front of her that's just clearly taking her in the jaw.
I'm going to do that. I'm going to expend a little bit of my movement. It's going to be 10 feet of my 35 to just pull her back 5 foot, so she's occupying the tile of the deceased bird.
She just sort of stumbles backwards, and you see her sort of trip, and she's like, as she falls sort of onto this thing, and is sort of just almost like a throne, but a horrible, fluffy, terrifying throne.
And then I will. Yeah, now I should be the only one that it can attack. Now it could try and be annoying, and so I will move 5 feet again to the east, and that way I'm stood in front of where it is, so it'll be much more annoying for it to actually get to where it wants to be to attack them.
Okay.
Because I don't want her to get hit again, because it sounds like she might die.
Wonderful. That is the west, but I understand where you're going.
Yeah, sorry. I can give it to you in cardinal directions, if you'd like.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I've got you. Captain Towler seems to be tending and sort of like shouting towards the deckhands, tending to this this girl that's up on the rigging. She's kind of like grabbed her by the fucking scruff and is yanking her down off of the rigging and is yelling at her. And it seems to be sort of descending into a small altercation. As they seem to be being reprimanded. And these two guys, they are done reloading this, and they begin to turn it towards some of the griffins attacking the other ships.
Okay.
You disappear as well. And you... and then it is number one, and number one is like limping. It's like wings are sagging. It looks between you, it looks past you towards Isla, and then its eyes flick up to this like seething figure that is like slowly, almost like caught in whatever it is they are feeling for the moment. And it will step back one poor step, two poor steps, and you see its wings unfurl and outstretch, and it is going to push off of the deck and attempt to take off.
Excellent. Well, then that's an attack of opportunity, right?
It is, yes.
I will spend one reaction to make a techniqueless attack with
Do
my
it.
pole. Honestly, it's probably getting out of here because I only deal like 1d4 damage. But that's okay. So I hit it for a. I didn't even hit it. It's a 13.
A 13 to hit. You go to swipe at it, and you're just short. If this had been a great weapon with reach, like you trained with, you could have got it. But this thing slips out from under your reach, and it will take its full 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45 to then 80 movement as it gets to the edge of this ship and just tucks its wings and dives down. It lets out another screech, and you see more of the sort of like black masses that are whipping around on the other boats sort of like look up and begin to follow it as it disappears out of sight over the edge of the thing.
Damn.
Four is dead. Who's next? Isla is just sort of like fucking stunned. She's like, is it over? Oh goodness! As she sort of looks towards the figure to her side, who's still sort of like seething and has sort of like steadied himself against the railing, and is covering his mouth.
I will.
Or before you.
Oh.
You see as this thing dives past these two sailors, these two dockhands at the far ballista. One of them sort of dodges out of the way, and seeing this, scruffy red hair runs over to the edge of the ship, sort of like closes one eye, lines up a hand, and bing! And she is gonna take a coin shot at this guy, and let's see what she gets. You hear sort of like a yelp of like victory as whatever she did, bing, she seems to have hit. But you're not sure the fate of this bird.
Okay.
As for now, things seem to settle.
We need a healer, I called out. We need a healer. A healer.
Yeah, and people immediately begin sort of like scrabbling and bringing about bandages. You see Isla sort of like stood shaking. She's kind of warily watching this person who is sort of seething next to them, and you see he's almost like staggers back, looks between the two of you, and just goes, "Please excuse me," and he very quickly sort of shuffles off down below deck.
Mm-hmm.
And you see almost, maybe an insight check.
Yeah, I think he's got some like almost like a mutant ability, but it's like hand-spray. That's kind of cool. Well, what do you? What's right? What check?
An insight check.
Insight. Oh no, that's one of my I am dumb skills. Always. That's 6.
A
It
6.
seems perfectly fine.
Yeah, you're not sure what it is. Like, maybe it's just like the adrenaline, but you catch a look in his eyes that you can't read as he, for all intents and purposes, runs away.
Well, that's okay. I mean, maybe he just doesn't like the blood. I don't know. And I turn and I look at Isla and I move her so that she's not sat on the corpse and I help her up.
Yeah, she almost like in shock for a moment, just like follows wherever you go, and you sit her down, and she's like, "Oh, well, we lived. That's good."
We
And she
did
sort
live.
of, you see like the moment the adrenaline sort of like glazes off of her eyes, and she like reaches up to her chin. Ow, 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 ow. Oh, that really stings.
See if we can get some bandage or something. Yeah, like I'll go find like I'll try and get to a healer at this point.
You all right? It really went for you. And you see like a number of people, scattering around. There's a number of dock hands. It doesn't seem like there is a specific healer on the ship, but there seem to be a number of people who know basic first aid. Captain Towler will come on over to the two of you. The two of you, all right? All limbs attached?
I nod. Thankfully, it didn't manage to land a hit on me.
Ah, good thing. Your friend, however, not so lucky. Come here. And she'll sort of kneel down on one knee. And she kind of winces and looks over the wound. Here. And she'll pull out a small, what looks like almost like a salve on a piece of paper. And she'll set about sort of like gently applying that to the side of her face. And Isla seems quite sort of grateful for it. And she gives the two of you a nod as she seems to like go past and start like making her rounds of the ship, checking damage.
Do you think they'll come back? Damn, I tried to get it, but it managed to get away. And I think I heard someone get ripped off the deck and thrown overboard at the back.
Oh, how awful. She kind of starts to ask a question and then grimly sort of looks to the side. I don't suppose they'll go back for them, will they?
For the body? To be honest, I doubt they'll be able to find them. The rate we're moving.
She gives a grim sort of wince, but nods. Well, I think I'd prefer to sleep below deck after all that.
No, you mention it. I nod. I was thinking the same.
Let's grab our things. And I think she'll sort of shuffle over and gather up her bag, and she comes out holding yours and will hand it over. And you sort of stumble below deck for the rest of the trip. You see a lot of kind of like nervous kids your age sort of down here. There's a number of them that are still sort of like talking amongst some of the dock hands that have come down, asking like, what's going on? Is there a fight? Like, what's happening? Are we going down?
I'll just say that we were attacked by griffins, but they've been fended off. We should be fine now.
And you see the murmurs sort of like go out, and there's like nods, and there seems to be a mixture of like some people you see get a look about them that's like, oh, this is real. Other people have sort of like a thrilled look about them, a look of sort of like, hell yeah, these are the fights I've been looking for. And you do see the sort of like larger figure, sort of like hunched in the back, the one with the dark hair, and he is sat with a young lady who has similarly black but like long straight hair and these like cold, almost like baby pink eyes, who's sort of like rubbing a hand on her chin as she seems to eye you before turning back to tending to the other person that she's with. And you're watched by like a number of other figures, but it seems that like for now, things are quietening down. And you have the chance to take a full rest if you would like, as you sort of find somewhere to sleep.
Yeah, so I'll find is there like a little cabin room, or is it just like a bunk bed situation?
It's less of a bunk bed situation and more of like find any place you can. It's clear that this is kind of like, while it's a large ship, this is also like,
Oh, we're just in the hold.
Yeah, everyone's sort of in the hold. Most people have like sleeping, like bedroll-esque things, and there's like been bundles of sort of like blankets placed down here, but it's not like this is clearly meant to be like a temporary set.
I sleep with my like coins under my back, and
Yeah, you do so, and Isla's like out in like 10 minutes, completely. If someone wanted to rob her, they could.
yeah, I think I'll like position. I'm gonna try and can I like position myself so that that's less likely to happen.
Yeah, you can sort of like shuffle round and be sort of like between her and her coin pouch. So you guys sequester yourselves in a little bit of a corner, and sleep does sort of like find you, if a little restlessly. And before long, the light of dawn begins to sort of creep into the hold. As day begins to break, and you hear a lot more sort of like commotion once again coming from the deck, but this time less sort of panicked and more like people actually preparing to, it seems, change the course of the boat. As you hear sort of like ropes being pulled, and the sails actually sort of moving, with like a horrible creaking noise for the first time.
Awesome.
And other people around you seem to be sort of rousing. You seem there's a less people in this hold now, and a lot of them have like moved up onto the main deck. So it comes
quickly
and reassuringly after the night's events.
I wake up. The first thing I do is I check my coin pouch.
Yep, you're so fine. I think especially coming down and being sort of like, don't worry, we were attacked by griffins, but it's okay. You've definitely sort of drawn a bit of attention to yourself. You're the guy that was up there fighting the griffins. And that's not lost on people.
Cool. I stand up. I kind of probably would, if Isla isn't already awake.
Yeah, she's still sort of snoozing.
I kind of nudge her. How's the wound feeling?
Bad. You see, she sort of like smiles from under where her hair has like been sort of flopped in the night, and she will sort of sit up and roll her shoulders. Well, that could have been a more comfortable sleep, but I suppose it'll do for now. I'm sure we'll have proper beds once we reach the camp.
Well, one fight and you've already got your first battle scar.
I hope it's not too. You see, she seems like a little concerned as she touches it, and there's a complex set of emotions on her face. It seems she both enjoys the notion of having a battle scar, but also maybe doesn't want a scar on her face.
Yeah, I understand that. That seems very reasonable. Although maybe not that liking the idea of it. I think that avoiding scars is probably for the best.
So she sort of guiltily bites her lip for a second and then gathers up her things. Should we go up? It seems like people have left somewhat.
Yeah, I think I can't be certain, but I think I heard them changing the direction of the ship.
Oh, well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see what it looks like now.
Let's hurry on up. And you guys shuffle up the sort of like deck onto the up the stairs onto the main deck. There are a lot of people. You see like some small groups have sort of started to form where people have sort of paired off, or like, friends have been being made in the in-between. And it's not long before you see that people are sort of gathering towards like the edge of the ship, the sort of like balcony area, and you hear sort of like gasps, and joining them, you begin watching as the light of dawn begins to dance across ocean waves, and below you, on the sheer edge of a cliff, you can see the small walled encampment filled with tents and sandy sparring grounds and temporary ramshackle wooden buildings that have been sort of like made to be slightly more permanent. And at the heart of all of it, on this like flat section of stone facing the cliff, you can see this like black glassy glow of a minor gate. And Isla sort of leans over the railing, just awed, and is like, oh, I've never seen one in person before."
You haven't? I thought they were...
No.
I suppose they are less common in cities.
It's almost beautiful.
It is. The way it shifts, I didn't think it would look like that.
And as you look around, you see that you are, from your convoy of 6, there's now only 2 ships. It seems that at some point in the night, the other 4 like boats have turned off.
Yeah.
And you eventually sort of holding on to the railings, and Isla sort of opting more to hold on to you than the railings because you seem sturdier. You guys begin to come into land at this small sort of like this small sky dock perched on the edge of this sheer cliff drop into the ocean. And everyone sort of gathers. The gangplank is sort of lowered onto the sandy cliffside, and you all get off and begin being sort of gathered into groups and moved along. And it's not long before you're all sort of like shown to a small courtyard surrounded by like 20 to 30 individual sort of like wooden cabins. And Captain Towler sort of like walks through this sea of confused children, and just begins shouting like the drill sergeant that she is. "Right! This is where you'll be staying for the next few days. There are no assigned cabins, so make yourselves at home and get unpacked. Meals are served in the mess tent 3 times a day. You have open access to the sparring yards and the quartermaster, who can loan those of you without weapons something to use. I'm sure you all saw on the way in there is a gate here. It has been kindly neutralized of any major threats and traded to the Confederates' program courtesy of House Sather. The point of this expedition is to allow you to experience the gate in a relatively controlled environment, to learn its threats, its rewards. To that end, we ask that you travel in groups of at least 3 if you can. Though cleared of minor threats, there are still beasts within it, though nothing a group of you shouldn't be able to handle." And she sort of gives you a sort of like nod, spying in the crowd. "There are valuable resources that need recovering from inside. As a part of the deal, those resources can be traded in at the quartermaster for spark shards and any other goods, or kept for personal use if you so desire." And you see people sort of like begin taking this in, some of them like half listening, looking around at the cabins, a couple of them already like scampering off to try and call dibs on some of the slightly bigger ones maybe. And she sort of looks around and dismisses the group. She informs you that a breakfast will be served in sort of 15 minutes in this mess tent. And Isla sort of like looks around. Should we go and get a cabin then?
That's probably not a bad idea. But first, you heard what they said. If we want to go into the gates, we need to find a 3rd person to join our party. I look around. Do I see the person labeled N on the map?
You can take a little look around if you want. Maybe a perception check.
Yeah, I will. So, that guy who ran away, he ran over to that woman, and I've got some sus feelings about that. Because I feel like there's something weird. Sorry, did you say perception?
Yeah.
Okay, that is a 14.
14. In the sort of like rush of the crowd, you start sort of like looking for it, and you catch a couple people with sort of orange hair moving about, but very quickly you realize that like these cabins are being sort of snatched up, and if you and Isla sort of want to get one nearby, you're gonna probably need to focus on that. But you also notice that a lot of these people are funneling towards this mess tent, so it probably won't be long before you'll be in a place where you can get a proper look at your peers.
Very well. Let's go try and get a good spot then.
Yeah, absolutely. Roll me a d10.
Okay. 3.
3. Interesting. Isla is going to make her roll a 9. And she sort of like from standing by your side, she sort of like you see her like head almost like lock on for a second as she sort of frames the cabins along the far wall, and she goes, "That one!" And sort of like sprints through the crowd like she did back at the Tangled Traveler with like kind of again she sort of pinged off people, but it works to her advantage this time as she seems to be able to sort of gun exactly for a cabin that's like basically the first one separated from like a group of 4 that is very slightly bigger than the others. You go to sort of follow her, and pretty quickly the cabins like immediately next to those are like snatched up by a group that just like was there before. And this sort of repeats itself a couple times. You're welcome to try and like either muscle your way through or just sort of cope and seethe. And you
No, hang on. Let's think. Oh, god damn it. I will... Oh, that's so stupid, dude. So, I can't share the cabin. We have to, like, get individual ones.
Well, they're like individual sized cabins. You
Right.
could share it. It would just be like a tight fit. They're like small cabins that are basically a bed and a dressing table to like store clothes in, and like a single window at the back, and like they're maybe 10 foot.
Is it worth me expending rigged odds charges on this?
It's up to you.
But like, is there really a mechanical difference between the size of the slot? And shall I spend my entire day's worth of charges to get a 9 and go join them? I don't... Oh, this day is so new. God damn it! Oh, this better be worth it. I expend my charges. I roll a 9.
You burn your charges and you roll a 9, and you get there. You see someone like basically like idly going to get the one that is in the separate like detached sections of those 4 buildings on the other side. So you're still neighbors, but there's like a 5-foot gap between the next batch of cabins, and you're just like, nope, not this time. And you sort of like get in before them, and you cut them off the way you were just cut off.
Yeah.
And you get in, and you close the door behind you, and you feel the distinct sort of like clicking of a door that actually has a lock.
Okay, that's probably worth. Okay.
And this cabin seems a lot newer than some of the other ones around the edges.
I look around the place. What have I got going on?
You look around, same sort of setup, very like army camp. You have a bed, you have a dresser, you have a window, and that's about all you have.
Okay. I open the chest in the room.
Yeah, as you sort of open it, there's nothing inside apart from a small key.
Excellent. I look around and yeah, I take the key. Cool. I don't really have much stuff, so I'm not really going to unload anything. I'm going to keep my gold on me, I suspect. I will take 1 gold. And I will hide it in my room, I think. So instead of putting it in my chest, I'll lock my chest firstly.
So you don't have a chest. You have like a nightstand.
Oh yeah, I'll lock my nightstand.
You can't. It's just like a dresser. It's just like a wooden slide-out dresser.
Oh,
the key
sorry.
is to your door.
The key to the door.
Yeah, you gather from this that the majority of these cabins have doors that don't lock.
Sounds interesting. Surely there'd be no thievery in a place like this.
Surely not.
I look at the ground. What's it made of?
It's all wood. These just seem to be like plank made, maybe driftwood sort of cabins.
Any loose planks or no?
Not at present. However, if you'd like to make one, you can either make me a sleight of hand if you're being careful about it, or a athletics check if you want to be thorough about it.
I'll make a sleight of hand and try and be careful. 9.
You begin to sort of like pry this thing open, and as you think back to at home, and you sort of begin as you normally would, sort of like trying to pull the edges up and like create a little bit of like a rocking motion to get it up, and you do succeed to a degree, but it's as you sort of like think you've got a little bit of give just to like very nicely pull this up, as you pull it upwards and you hear just like a bit of a crunch in the middle, and you look down and it's not splintered, it's not bad, but there is sort of a minorly noticeable crack in the plank.
Damn.
As this wood seems to be a little more flexible than you might have initially given it credit for.
I'll just put it back. I'll keep
you
the gold on
put
me.
it down, and it's sort of like you put it back down, but it's kind of like bent now. So now you've got like a bit of a creaky, like uneven plank that's sort of under your bed.
That's under my bed though, so that's not the end of the world.
Yeah, there's no risk of stepping on it, but it's definitely noticeable.
Brilliant. Well, this is mine. How do I mark it as mine? Because others might try and claim it after me.
Well, you've got a key.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I'll lock the door and I'll leave.
Yep, you lock the door. You see a number of people sort of going around, dealing with like the realization that some of their rooms don't necessarily have locks on the door. You see some people getting like creative with maybe some like rope to sort of like try and bind things, but it's like it's kind of working to some degree. But a lot of people seem to be happy to be on the ground again. And the buzz of people are either hanging around their new abodes or heading sort of towards the mess hall.
Yeah, I'll go to Isla's place.
Yeah, you walk just like the 5 foot next door, and you do knock on the door. You don't hear anything.
You in there?
Silence.
I go to the mess hall.
Yeah, you head on over to the mess hall. There is already like a buzz of people, and you can see sort of a number of groups have already sort of like formed around sort of like the temporary like wooden tables that are there. The smell of like warm food is wafting through the air, and you see sort of like at the back, seemingly taking the initiative after you mentioned it, you spot Isla sort of like waving at you above the crowd, and she is sat at a table with 2 other figures. One of them, the sort of red-haired girl from last night, and a fellow with sort of like mousy brown sort of hair, in this like, I guess what I can only describe as sort of like a yellow, like a bard getup. He's got sort of like the poofy hat with the feather.
Yeah.
And you sort of get over there and you hear, you can see they're like throwing dice, it seems, and he goes, I'm inclined to investigate the providence of such lucky dice. And the like ruffled-haired, like, ginger-haired girl sort of leans back on her chair and grins. It didn't roll the same way when you were casting laurels. Seems like the common factor might be you. And you can see there's just like a set of snake eyes sat in front of the yellow figure, and he's got his like hand, his face in his hand.
Laurel is the bard, man. Okay, cool. Sorry.
And Isla goes, Vyre, come here.
I come over. I see you've taken the initiative.
I have. Allow me to introduce you. This is Nikki, and the girl with sort of like ginger hair sort of raises a hand to you. So, and this is Laurel. Uh, and you see he sort of like reaches a hand towards you to like firmly shake it, but you have like a way firmer grip than he does.
Mm.
And he's like, "Strong one. Good to meet you. Well met. Can we interest you in a game? I seem to be in crippling amounts of debt, so if you'd like to get me out of it, that would be much appreciated."
I'm afraid I need to keep my gold. And I turn and nod to Nikki. Although I saw from the fight yesterday that you don't mind throwing yours around.
There you got that right. Seems to have landed myself a reflection that gels well with me, I think. You didn't do too well either. I'm sorry. You didn't do too poorly either.
If only I had an actual weapon instead of just some random rod I found, then I might have actually been able to spell the beast.
Well, if it's any consolation prize, it definitely died.
I'll take your word for it. Do you happen to know where I could get my hands on a blade?
Oh, yeah, completely. I think you can be lent one. Oh god, she kind of snaps her fingers. What was his name? June. He's the quartermaster here. He's a guy. He's got a kind of naff personality, if you know what I mean. But he can lend you weapons. He'll be lending anyone here who doesn't have a weapon already something to use when you're into the gates.
I nod. Okay. I don't know. It might be worth checking them out, seeing if they have any good wares we could pick up. Are you? Are either of you interested in going into the vaults? Into the gates?
You see Nikki sort of like stretch her hands forward and her knuckles just sort of like crack a little bit, and she gives a firm nod like, "Oh yeah, I've been waiting one hell of a long time to sign up for this, and my mother finally can't fucking stop me." And Laurel sort of puts his hands up and rubs the back of his neck. "I would love to join you. Unfortunately, I've already been sort of invited by a lovely lady to join a group. I'd hate to stand her up. It would be pretty terrible."
Does she have like pink eyes? I ask.
Yes, she does actually. I think she sat over, and as he sort of like points, you hear the clattering of sort of like a tankard to the ground, as conversations sort of fizzle as an argument seems to begin to break out, and you see this girl, sort of like the pale eyes and the black hair, being confronted by this guy, also one of the few people in armor. He's got sort of like the white and gold armor with the brand of the Confederate on it, and he has sort of like seemingly slammed his hands down into the table, and the girl goes, "I have no intentions of wasting my time on you, Alec. You've already proven to be as useless as your father was at his job. I'll take my chances with more useful people." And you see the other guy sort of scoff. He's got sort of like a flop of sort of gold blonde hair, and he sort of stands up and slams his hand on the table. "Lest I remind you, I am the son of Sir Maxim Silvershield, head of the Deagrace Gateseekers, and you, a mere daughter of a dead magistrate. You would do well to address me with more respect, or perhaps you'd like to end up like your old man, choked on his own drink, dead in his own home, And as he sort of leans in, you see just like emerging from behind her this like huge fucking figure of this dark-haired guy with sort of gold eyes just put himself sort of between Alec and this guy. And this girl even. And she just sort of leans back into the... no, sorry, she's not sat down. She just sort of leans against the table a little bit. And there's this long moment of silence as this guy, trying not to act intimidated, looks up at him and then looks back at her and doesn't make eye contact with him and goes, "Your brother meant to scare me. She goes, does he? No. Then you can settle your differences with him. That's not... and she steps away and slips into the crowd as suddenly there's a lot of excitement at the prospect of a duel that begins to break out, and people begin to block your view and gather. And Laurel sort of goes, oh shit, I should probably... and he gets up and sort of begins to
I grab
disappear
his
into this
arm a
rallying
second.
crowd.
If you see them, let them know that I'd like to have a word.
Of course, sure. Vyre, was it?
Yes. Pleasure meeting you, Laurel.
Pleasure meeting you. And
I released them. It wasn't meant to be like violent or too intimidating. I just
yeah. It's more that you grab his arm, and he's such like a. He's almost got like a dancerly way that he steps, where like he never really has like full control over his balance.
Mm-hmm.
So much so that when you like gently grabbed his arm, his whole body sort of like swung around, and he had to balance on one foot for a moment. It doesn't seem to bother him though, as he tips his hat to you and scampers into the crowd.
I have an idea.
And as
I have an idea.
And as like suddenly there's like this drumming up of this like duel, people begin rallying. You see another figure, sort of like scrawny, kind of sketchy looking kid. He's got like red eyes and like scruffy brown green hair, and he seems to be like rallying people. And before he's got like a bag at his side. Before long, it seems like there's this weird betting pool going where anyone who like bets on the winning side gets like a mystery prize, and that's what seems to like drum up around. And you see Nikki seems confused but also like super into it, and like flicks a coin, and you watch it sort of spin through the air towards this table and flunk into the prize pool of the sort of like larger guy.
I turned and I say, you realise if he doesn't see you put the gold in, he probably won't count you towards the winnings, right?
Nikki kind of shrugs. I'm sure he'll get it.
Okay.
I just wander up to it regardless, so.
Sure. What do you know about that pink-eyed woman? Do you know her name?
Name? Don't know her personally, but she wears the house crest of House Zather, so assume she's one of their kids.
I nod. They're the people who got this gate neutralized, right?
Yeah, that'll be him. One of Dea Grace's great houses.
Do you reckon it would be worth trying to befriend them? It could be valuable if we want to go and clear the gate properly, that is.
Nikki sort of like weighs the option in her head. Could be, though I not to sell myself short or anything, but I tend not to get along too well with the society types. Different expectations and all.
I nod. Well, that's okay. You won't be with just them after all.
Suppose not. You're from Dea Grace then?
Dea Grace, I nod.
Hmm.
But not from anywhere fancy.
She gives a nod, and you see her eyes sort of like flick up and down you. She gives like the knowing smirk of like, you don't look it, but she holds her tongue.
I said not from anywhere fancy, but
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, maybe you can guess, but well, yeah. I'll need to get my hands on one of those swords, and maybe a set of armor if there is one.
Don't know too much about armor, but they can definitely get you a sword over the quartermasters. You want me to come with you? I know a couple of people here. My mother runs the old ship. Been to this yard a couple times.
Oh, the captain's your mother?
Yeah. She sort of like rubs her hand off on the side of her jacket and holds the hand out towards you. Nikki Towler.
Ah. I shake it. Seems your entire family is away with gold.
It has a funny way of doing that coincidence.
Okay. That's interesting. Man, you made a really cool cast, I'll tell you that much.
Hell yeah. Glad you like it.
Ooh, there's drama in it. Dude, it's pretty good. Really good. I'm trying to think about, like, I don't know how big I should make my party, like who I should put in it. Oh man, I got options.
You do. You know you need a minimum of 3.
Minimum of 3 is true, and I've
you
got
can
3.
definitely see that, like, things are already forming.
Yeah, I should probably go talk to. I say, not yet. No.
If you
we can go to the quartermaster. Basically any time, right? I mean, they'll run out of good stuff soon, but my thought is forging alliances now might be the best time we've got before other bonds are made, other pacts. So my thought.
Well,
sorry, go on.
Oh no, go on ahead.
I'm just thinking that the pink-eyed woman. I heard something. They said that they were the daughter of a magistrate. I have no idea who that was, other than that their brother was the man I fought with last night. And they proved themselves competent. If I could get them to fight with us, that would be a boon. But I doubt they'll come as a, single. They seem to be a pair, is what I'm getting at. Brother protects their, sister. But they both have abilities. I mean, everyone here does, right? They have to.
Yeah.
So they're all valuable.
Well, I wouldn't count your blessings. The high and mighty lot tend to not like kicking around with Lowtown folk.
That may be
or
so.
at least good honest working folk.
But they do like to succeed, and that's what I plan to do.
Fair enough. Might be able to try your luck, although I think the brother might be a little distracted at the moment. And you can hear the crowd sort of like wailing as like clearly punches are being thrown.
It's not the brother we have to convince, I say. Where the sister goes, the brother will follow. And I stand up. I'm gonna go try look her up, find her in the crowd.
Yeah, you make me a perception check. As you, how are you doing this? Because you're a tall guy, but this is kind of like a big crowd, and a lot of people are like stood up on seats now to try and find it. There's like basically a little bar at the back where like some food is being served that is like slightly raised, that you might be able to sort of like get on a stool and sort of prop yourself just a little bit higher where the crowd's sort of cleared.
I will also check around now, because like if I was a thief and I wanted to go rob people, when everyone's distracted in the big fight is when I'd probably do it. Have I seen anyone like conveniently leave just about now?
Make me a perception check to see who you see.
Yeah, I'm not too worried, but obviously I'd like to see.
The most thief-looking guy here is honestly the little scrawny guy at the table, who almost looks like the picture of like the person you'd expect to live in Lowtown.
15.
15. You look around and there are a number of people here. You see the sort of like scrappy guy. You see the sister is still sort of like, she's in the crowd, but she's sort of like at the edge of it, and people are giving her sort of like a little bit of space. And you can see she's just sort of watching her brother, who you can't fully see, but you think you see sort of like a red sort of like flare as he sort of like, you catch like bits of him moving around, and like he's punched in the jaw at some point, and you see his head sort of move back, and his eyes are fully like humming with a small red glow.
I'll go walk up beside her if I can.
It seems people aren't doing that.
I know.
People okay. You see a couple more people just before you go. You see sort of on the side of the guy in the armor, the guy with the blonde hair, there is another guy also in armor, but these are more like padded leathers, who you can't like put your finger on it, but he kind of looks familiar. You see actually at the bar on the side that you're going to, another young lady sort of like leant back with sort of like drifting purple hair that's been like tied back into a tight ponytail.
Mm-hmm.
Who's sort of like she's got like a bit of a black half cloak.
Wait, hold on. Sorry, I feel like I should be taking a lot more attention to these descriptions. Could you go again?
Yeah, okay. So there's a woman at the bar.
Yeah.
She's watching this happen. She's got sort of like dark purple eyes, this like long, almost like wavy purple hair that's been tied back into a tight ponytail, and she's got like this black half scarf that you can see.
And she had black hair.
No, she has like a dark purple hair.
Mm-hmm.
You can see a guy stood sort of like backing, trying to almost like support this other guy who's currently fighting the brother, who you can't like put your finger on it, but it kind of looks familiar. He's kind of like freckled and he's got sort of like a dirty blonde hair himself.
Right.
And then you see the sort of like, scrappy looking guy at a table with a pretty like tight bead on the money that's in front of him.
Yeah, he's the merchant.
And everything's going on.
Sure
He's the merchant. He's the fucking merchant. And then you see the sister.
I will walk over to the sister if I can.
You can try. You can try and like shuffle through this like crowd and sidle up. If you want to, you can. How are you going in on this? Do you want presents or do you 100% want to get there?
Well, I just want to basically walk up and say hi, basically.
But this is like a tight crowd. So are you going to try and finesse this, or are you just like barging through?
Well, I've already sent a minion to go and deliver the message that I want to talk, right? Maybe I wait a little bit. I'm just worried that by then it'll be too late. They've already got a 3, so maybe that's their plan. Okay.
You know that you're gonna like. There's no hard limit on like groups. You don't have to stick to the groups that you form. You know that you're gonna be here for like a week.
Yeah, I got time to talk to them later.
Yeah.
I'll is it worth talking to the merchant? Might be. Sounds reasonable. And I walk over to them then instead. Are they easy to approach?
Yeah, they're sat at a table, sort of like people are coming and going from this table. He's basically like sat cross-legged on it.
Greetings, friend.
1 minute.
You have the eyes of a merchant, and I give him a nod, and it seems the coin of one too.
Hopefully, I get to keep the half that the loser, scraps.
I have the feeling soon that me and my band are gonna have wares. I assume you have some plan to make some offers, some deals?
He smirks. Might do. Depends what you're offering.
Well, I just thought that if you're looking for suppliers, I'd show my hand early. Gain your favour.
That's a smart thing to do. You got the look of someone who's from Lowtown about you.
A nod. That I do.
What district you're from?
I tell them the district I'm from.
You do. You tell you're sort of like from the Traveler's Trap. And he sort of laughs and nods. You're from the good side of town then. Alright. I'm willing to do business with you. I'm good at acquiring things. If you need something specific, you can come to me for a cost, and I'm sure I can get my hands on it for you.
I nod.
Or, if you're just looking for a little bit of a surprise, for a small fee, and he sort of slaps the bag on his hip, I can give you a bit of a surprise. A little bit of something special.
Yes. Well, I also have a service that I can offer you.
I'm listening.
My ability has recently enabled certain activities. I think together we can make a lot of money. We need to sell it right, but let's just say, if things go my way, I have the ability to duplicate anything I'd like.
You see his eyes widen with interest, and he.
I thought that might catch your attention.
Regarding you a little bit more, like, ah, shit, a man of business. And he sort of like rubs his hands together and leans in. Well, if you can get a grip on that, I'm sure we can scrape something together.
That's what I thought. I can't reliably duplicate things. Not yet. But it doesn't mean we can't make money off of this. You could set up a game of odds. You stake some gold. Then you either get double back or nothing. Of course, you take a little cut of whatever they put in, and that way, no matter the outcome, the house always wins. We split that share evenly. You just need to get the people together.
Okay. There's a lot of fancy sorts here, but I'll put out some feelers, see who's willing to make a bit of a gamble.
Be warned, there's only so many times I can do this a day, so doing this is a big jackpot situation is more preferable.
Gotta find the right targets then.
It's a high stakes gamble, but for the right person, it'll be a big one. Now, I'd nod and say, for our business, I'd like to ask, is there any way you could acquire me a set of armor?
Set of armor? He kind of thinks for a second. Might be able to. Might be a bit tricky, but I'm sure for the right price I could give it a go.
What kind of money would you need?
You know, standard rate for armor plus a bit of a just a modest delivery fee. Let's say 35 gold.
I nod. Well, you know where I'm from. I don't have that kind of gold on me right now.
That's a real shame, friend. And he looks down at the two piles of coins in front of him. Probably not 35 gold total, but maybe pressing 20.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you plan on hitting the gate anytime soon, I'm sure you'll have gold to spare soon enough. And I'll be here.
I nod. I was expecting as much. I just wanted to know what your number was. 35 gold for armor. Okay. That I can do. And how much for your mystery pull?
Nothing that much. 50 silver?
I shake my head and I flip him the gold piece. I take 2 pulls.
Oh, sure, absolutely. He takes it, and you see just like the gleam in his eyes, the gold gleam, and he'll pocket that away, just like into a boot somewhere, and he'll sort of pull this like burlap sack around from his waist with a flourish, sort of fan it out a little bit, do a little bit of a like flattens it out, flaps it back out again, does a bit of a spin to show that it's empty.
Remember my ability. Remember the money we could make together. And then I dip my hand off his shoulder.
Yeah, roll me a d6.
Okay.
As you reach, I assume you reach into his bag.
Yeah. It's a 6.
Oh, okay. You reach into this bag and you, it's weird and cold, and you feel your hand, for a moment, you almost feel it like, again, shifting through that like weird sensation of broken glass, and then your fingers find purchase around a small sort of like thin metal shape.
I grasp it.
And you grasp it, and you pull back, and there you are holding a key. It's kind of this like varnished bronzy color. It's got like ornate patterning on the ends of it. It's definitely not a room key, but it is a key.
I look at it. Huh.
Yeah, you get those. The sort of merchant character has the same sort of reaction as he looks at it. He goes, "Huh."
Do you know what this key's for?
He stares at it for a moment, tries to sort of assess it, and ultimately shrugs. Having a clue. That's what the random pulls are about. You get a little bit of mystery.
Is this random pull pulling random items from around us out of this bag?
I'm not in the liberty to discuss the inner workings of my business with a guy who hasn't even introduced himself by name.
My name's Vyre, and I paid for 2 pulls. I reach in again.
Yeah, you do. You reach in, roll me another d6.
Okay. 4.
A 4. Again, you feel kind of like a glassy sensation, and this time it doesn't end. It's like you find purchase on another sort of glassy feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And you pull out a spark shard.
I take the spark
It
shard
is. You do. This is a standard tier 1 spark shard. It has 20 spark in it.
I immediately consume it.
Yeah, you like pull it out, and even before, like, he sees you pull something, and then it's like gone. And he seems a little like confused. What do you get?
A shard, it seems.
That's a pretty good one. They don't tend to come out very often.
I nod. Well, honestly, that probably was a good trade, I think. I don't know how much spark shards are worth. How much are spark shards worth, I say?
You see him, like, by the way he looks slightly pained, probably more than a gold.
I know. I thought as much. Thanks. Well, I'll remember this.
Yeah.
And so the ornate key is worth more than a spark shard? Maybe. I don't know. That's speculation. It could just be random. There's a random ornate key. Fuck, that's cool. Okay.
Well, you know, if you're looking for me, I'm Rat.
Rat.
Yeah. Sneaky. I'm getting lots of places.
I nod. You know, I don't doubt that. I'll see you around, Rat.
Yeah.
Remember what I said, by the way. See if you can gather some people up for it.
Yeah, keep an eye out, boss.
Well. I give them a nod. I'm going to be putting together a powerful group, I hope. So, I'm sure we'll see each other.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
And his attention is drawn to 2 other people who come over to sort of start putting more money onto his little betting pool. You can see, you can see Isla. She's sort of like lingering on the edge of the table, talking to Nikki, who seems to be like trying to be like, "What? I mean, it's only a gold to lose, and you could get a mystery prize. That's pretty cool." And I was like, "Well, I mean, that is pretty cool. I do want to do it. Don't get me wrong. I just."
I walk over. I say, once we can start doubling gold, then we can start making frivolous bets. But for now, I've made advancements in befriending the merchant. And that way we can be part of the house. You know what they say. The house always wins.
Well, I like your style. Let's see about getting you to June, getting you a weapon before all the good ones get nabbed, eh?
I nod. I managed to get some extra spark, which is good. And I have this. I present the key.
Yeah, you present the key, and it is lovely. It's definitely fancier than the building key. Nikki looks at it, kind of shrugs, doesn't seem to recognize it. And let's see, does Isla know what this
fucking
key is?
Isla's key.
Could you imagine?
Yeah, that's why I'm worried.
No, I doesn't know.
Oh no, that's even worse. This could be like the pink girl's key. You know what I mean? That'd be really bad for me. I pocket it then. I say, well, shit. I don't know what this key belongs to. But I'm almost certain that Rat's bag just teleports a random item to him.
Well, that's kind of useful. Guess we should keep our possessions to ourselves, I reckon.
Well, perhaps. Maybe it'll end up in Rat's bag.
Oh God. At least I know to aim my fists at if one of my things goes missing.
Yeah, I nod in agreement. Let's go to that person you mentioned. I think we should hit the gates sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I agree.
How are you feeling, Isla?
Well, I think I'm all right. You see, she's still sort of like kind of eyeing where the fight's going on. I do kind of want to pull at his, the mystery bag, but no, you're right. We should get in early if we're gonna make the most of the game.
Once we make some gold, we can go back and pull from the bag if you like.
Yeah, that would be great. Well, let's get a move on. I want to see if they have a bow.
Yeah, cool. We go to the place.
Wonderful. You make your way sort of like out of this tent. Already you can see people sort of like moving away in like small groups, or like groups being formed sort of outside. You see several of them actually like begin walking over and lining up like outside of the gate where Captain Towler stood talking to just like this robed figure in sort of like almost the inverse of what she's wearing. It's sort of black and gold instead of white and gold.
Yeah.
And it's there like you look for a face, but you see that it's almost like masked. It's got like a smooth mask on.
Interesting.
But you go across the way to a small sort of like wooden building with a set of like cloth doorways that you can push your way through, which Nikki just sort of pushes to the side and goes, "June, get out of here!" And you see sort of like turning around with a droll look on his face, this like older man in sort of like spectacles with wavy hair sort of done up into a sort of like man bun, kind of tiredly leaning on his sort of like shop counter. And inside you see like almost like a bounty board with a bunch of like pictures of herbs on it and their like relative conversion rates into gold. You see sort of like a glass counter full of like small but well kept relatively that you've seen spark shards. You see sort of like a number of weapons sort of like lined up behind him on the wall, and he sort of like leans tiredly forwards on his desk and goes, "Is it that time already? Fine, what can I do you for?"
I reach forwards, like to shake hands and say, "My name's Vyre. I'm."
He just like fully looks at your hand, looks back at you, doesn't go to shake it. He just goes, "Good to meet you. Do you need a weapon?"
Yes, please. I give them the specifications of the weapon I require. A great weapon, a big old sword, hunk of metal.
A great big old sword, a hunk of metal.
Not those words directly, but that's my description to you.
He sort of spins around. Well, you've got two fine options. You've got this worn hunk of metal over here, and he gestures to what looks like a worn greatsword. It's made of like clearly a tarnished metal, and you think it's got like a couple dents in its blade. Or this glorious masterwork right here, and you see like a similarly sort of beat up what almost looks like a wooden training sword. So for your context, you have two options. You can choose a training greatsword, which is strength scaling, two-handed and heavy. It only deals a d4 bludgeoning damage, but it grants you a 30 comprehension bonus towards martial skills.
Yeah.
Or you can take a worn greatsword, which is the same strength scaling, two-handed heavy, but it deals a d12 slashing damage.
D12 slashing. And I can't
So
take
you're
both.
You don't know. He's only offering you one.
Can I ask for both? One seems like it'd be better for training, the other better for fighting.
Yeah. and you're not the only person here. Besides, could you even lift 2? You're welcome to make me a persuasion check.
Yeah, I will. I'll give it a go. Persuasion check. I want to find out, you piece of shit. No, 8. I say I wouldn't be carrying both at the same time. I'd be taking one for training and one for fighting.
Well, you can probably come in and trade the one that you're carrying back then. I'm happy to swap them out for you, but I can only give out one at a time, I'm afraid.
Well, I suppose it's reasonable. If I had some extra funding to reserve it, would that make a difference?
Might do.
I nod. How much would it cost me now to reserve stuff? Just so I can gather the capital if I don't have it on me.
I could probably put it away for a day for 2 gold. I'll be honest, not many people ask for great swords. Most of them can't bloody lift the things.
2 gold. Oh. Okay. That is going to be a lot more valuable to me. Oh, dude. You know what? It sounds crazy, but I'm leaning towards the training sword.
Go for it.
Martial skills is so powerful.
I take it Nikki hasn't given you the rundown on how my services work, so let me be of service. You can reserve weapons for a small fee and come and swap them out as you see fit whilst you're here. You can't keep them, they're not yours. You can bring anything odd that you find to me that you're not sure what it is from the dungeons, and I can appraise it for you for a minor fee of 10 gold. And I, of course, sell basic spark shards, and here, hold on. He reaches down beneath the counter, and he gives you a small scroll. And on it seems to be a conversion list for
list of prices. That's...
herbs for small...
Shit, boy.
With small sort of like little images next to them.
Love that. Cheapest is 2 gold. That's big.
Any herbs that you find out in the dungeon, these are the ones that are assessed to likely show up. You can bring here, I'll trade them in for gold.
I will hand them 2 gold and say, could you reserve the greater blade for me, please?
Can do. And you hand him 2 gold.
And I'll take the training sword now, if you will.
He gives you a nod and he sort of like lazily wanders over. As you watch him, he goes to sort of like begin unlatching this thing from the wall and pulling it off. And you notice he passes a glass front sort of like wooden cabinet that is like in the wall behind the counter, and in it first thing you see very clearly a price tag of 100 gold sort of underneath it. But there's a small red leather bound book.
Okay, I see. Does it, by chance, by the way, just out of curiosity, it looks similar in its design to the key I possess?
You can make me a either crafting or a investigation roll.
I think they're the same. Crafting is in, investigation is also in. Yeah, sure. I'll investigate. I might at the very least figure out what the technique is. 9. Oh, dude. Only a 9.
A 9. You look at it. It does have a key. It has like a lock on it, but you're not really close enough to discern any like design.
If I hold the key out like in front of my face, could I gain advantage?
You want to hold the key in front of your face to gain advantage. You can if you want.
No, I'll put the key away. I'll wait for the guy to come back with the sword, and I'll say, "What's that?" And I'll look over to the cabinet.
This,
Technique
and
for
you
sale?
see, I do actually, training technique. I'm not meant to give it out willy-nilly, so I like giving it a little fun price tag, something for people to aspire to. And even as he does like a little like hand gesture, there's still just like a drear about his whole vibe. And you see sort of embossed on it is the title Intuitive Sparring.
That seems like it's fucking big, dude. That seems big. Okay.
But if you get me those herbs and you can earn enough, I'm sure that you can get your hands on it in a matter of days.
I nod.
Thunk as he like drops the wooden like sword on the counter.
I pick it up. Fuck yes, new sword.
It
dude.
is heavy, made of wood, blunted on the sides, deals bludgeoning damage as opposed to the normal slashing damage.
Okay, cool, big. I don't really
You are,
use too much.
yeah, you're surprisingly used to training with like practice swords that are heavier than usual because that's what you were doing back home with Malik.
So let's do the thoughts here, right? So we have a sword that deals 1d4 versus 1d12. So if you do the maths on that, the sword is only 4 points of damage off. I mean, that is the max roll of this current sword, so it's about twice as good. In fact, it's more than twice as good. It's like really good. The D12 versus the D4, but the comprehension bonus pushes me into 200 comp, which means that this wooden sword is nearly invaluable to me because it doubles the rate in which I train. With martial skills, and I only possess martial skills, so that's freaking huge. Which is why I went for the wooden sword. Would you give me a little quick second, because I get to ceremoniously put that into my little database as the first new sword I got.
Absolutely. I will
much.
leave this here as a little notation of some of the things that June, the quartermaster, can offer.
I'd love to have like a little. Oh, you put services. Fucking yes! I was about to write that down. Okay, can appraise items for 10 gold. Can sell access to technique for 100 gold. Can sell. Ask him how much a T1 spark shard is.
Depends what quality you're looking at. Do you want a standard one?
I just want to know the price ranges. What is?
Generally depends on the area that you live. Some places will price the different colors differently, but for at least the training space, we price by energy contained. So 20 for a standard, 10 for a low quality one or a damaged one, 30 for a decent quality one. If you happen to find a pristine one, they usually go for about 40 gold.
Awesome. Could
Although
you put that in lore
outside
so I can figure that out in a second?
Yeah.
Thank you very much. And I will, once you do that, put stuff in. All I need to know, I'm having an excellent time right now. This is
Hell
exactly
yeah.
what I was looking for, dude. Oh, I'm actually having so much fun, dude. You don't even know. You know, and what is this? Wooden training sword. Training great sword. Wooden training great sword. Oh, it's training great sword. Okay. Alright, then I can insert my weapon template and training great sword. Hit is 1d20 plus strength. Damage is 1d4 plus strength. It is bludgeoning damage.
Yes.
2 handed, heavy, and grants a plus 30 comp bonus while in use. Is that how that's worded? So like just from a mechanical
So mechanically, when you're gaining comprehension from using your techniques, you treat your comprehension bonus as if it has a plus 30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so that does sound exactly like that. So cool.
Yeah.
So I'll say while equipped, I get a plus 30 bonus to
Martial
skills.
Yeah.
Martial techniques. Well. So freaking massive there. Awesome. Cool. And then on my character sheet, there it is. Oh, dude, that's so sick. Oh, dude, I need to have Okay. Give me a quick sec. Is it bonus or bonuses?
How do you mean? It's bonus.
Is it always just... Okay. Okay. Cool. Interesting. Where's that? Okay, cool. Cool. Sorry. I see. Okay.
So
Yes.
you see like as this goes on and you're sort of like strapping this to you get like a little holster for it effectively with a sheath. And you begin sort of like strapping that to your back. You see that Isla she's managed to find a short bow.
Mm-hmm.
And she's sort of like talking to June. She's like getting that all set up. She's got like a small quiver and he's loaned her some arrows. And as you're sort of like turning to sort of leave, you notice Nikki doesn't go for a weapon at all. Instead, she sort of leans in over the desk and goes. You hear sort of like a low murmuring between them. You catch sort of just sort of like, no, Nikki, I can't make that for you. And she's like, come on, friend rates, buddy, old pal, come on, just once, just a little bit, just a little tiny one. And you see June give like a long sigh. Tiny one. And he sort of leans back, heads back into his sort of like stores beyond where you can see. You hear a clinking sort of noise, and he comes out and seems to palm Nikki a small sort of vial of something. And she just full slaps his shoulder and he's like, and goes back to sort of leaning on the desk. And she's like, Adam, man, I'll remember this.
Thanks, June, I say.
And he gives you like a tired but friendly-ish nod, you think, now that you've like had a moment to adjust to his sort of character. And you head out. Isla is like
gold. Oh, dude. Sorry. I just realized how much money I made from that freaking gold exchange. Huge.
Yeah, and Isla's like looking over the arrows and she's like, this is gonna be wonderful. I've heard it's quite difficult to pull a bow, but I think I've got it in me. I've got the drive. I've got the confidence.
I nod.
She says, sort of almost like pointing the arrow and then like realizing, oh, that's sharp, and like struggling to put it back into her little quiver.
Does she have a technique? Do you have any idea how to use a bow? Any form of technique or anything you can use?
Well, kind of. I can't. So I have the books, and I've read through some of them, but I haven't gotten particularly far. I kind of grabbed a few that were relevant before I didn't have much time to pack, you see, and as she's sort of like seeming to stammer this explanation to you, Nikki goes, hey, we might want to hurry if you want to get in. A line's starting to form.
Yeah, I nod. Okay, well, we'll train in the dungeon.
And she gives like a determined little like ball of her fists, and you see very quickly a big fucking like line of several groups is forming in front of this gate.
If we happen to get hurt in there, do you happen to know if anyone who might have any healing supplies?
Yeah, you just met him. That's kind of what that back room is for. If you don't get yourself fully killed, then he can probably patch you up. June's a lot of things. Fun is debatable, but a good healer is one of his many talents.
Right, good to know. Okay, so we've never fought together before, but it's probably a good idea once we get inside to talk about our plans.
Yeah, that sounds good. Get in, assess what we're working with, and then figure out how we're going to divide and conquer, she says, sort of punching her fist into her palm.
Exactly.
And you see up ahead, you're like a couple groups back in a sort of slightly longer line. You watch one group kind of get processed, where like they have a sort of like a bit of a brief conversation with Towler, and then they turn to this like strange figure who seems to have them like place their hand upon this almost like at first you think like maybe it's a mirror, but it seems to like glow very slightly, and then they seem to nod and they're let through into the dungeon. You watch as like the next group after that, a few like pockets ahead of you, you see the sort of like tall dark figure and the girl with pink eyes, and a very yellow like jovial looking figure clearly trying to make like polite enthused conversation and not really like knowing whether it's landing, but like continuing to talk anyway.
Oh, wait, they're a group ahead.
There's several groups ahead of you. You're like at the back of this line, and they're getting tested to go in. You see Laurel
so
put his hand on. Vroom, vroom. There's sort of like this little glow, and he gives a nod. Make me a perception or an insight.
Both +2. Bonk, a 4. Oh, my rolls.
A 4. You watch and like you're kind of jostled by someone before you can like see too much, but they seem to get through very quickly as the two of them vroom, vroom, into this.
Yeah, I just want to be friends with them. They feel like they got privileges. This is their family's fucking gate. Oh, dude. I need to talk to them at some point. Oh, God damn it. Laurel, you're meant to be me in.
And it takes a little while for you to get up to it, but as you begin to approach, you get a much better look at this figure. They're sort of like indistinguishable from like any other person who would be dressed like they are. They're black gloved hands, they've got sort of wrapped arms, long dark sort of like robes, and a mask placed over their face, and they hold out this like basically it almost looks like a spark shard, but it's perfectly square, and almost like mirror like.
I look up and I give them a nod and say, apologies for my ignorance, but what exactly is this?
And Towler actually speaks up, this person doesn't, and goes, this is your initial preliminary test. You put your hand over it and it'll give our fine fellow here from the assembly a brief sort of gauge of your entry power. Make sure that no one unprepared goes inside.
I hesitate and then reach out a hand. What could it hurt?
Yeah, you do. You put your hand over it, and you see they reach out a hand and almost like place it over yours and push it to the surface. And you feel almost like a strange humming from beneath, and
I
there's
do
just
have
like
20 spark in me. That's not going to cause issues, is it?
it doesn't seem so. As you see, it seems just like the group before you. There's like a brief vroom, and it glows very slightly. What you do notice is the signet ring on the hand of this person. It's got this strange, almost like hourglassy symbol with a slash through it.
That's the crest of House Sadler,
It's
isn't it?
not.
Oh,
No.
wait.
This is just
with a slash through it on assembly.
You just notice a signet ring that you don't recognize. And they pull their hand back, and you seem to be permitted to pass. You see, pretty nervously, Isla follows, and then before long, the three of you sort of stand facing what frankly looks like a Path of Exile Delirium gate, this like black glowing sphere that like cracks into this like strange glassy substance that then just like fades beyond vision. And you can feel an energy vroom, 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 sort of pulsing from the inside.
Does it like a reach out to meet you like the...
It does. Not quite as much as you would expect, but definitely as you go there you can almost see like little bits of black almost pulling off like metal flecks towards you.
And just to be clear, this is the exact kind of thing I saw in my when I initially went to Myrror.
Yes, this has a very similar appearance. The one that you saw in Myrror seemed almost like originally more sort of like fleshy. It was like more organic in shape, but when it sort of solidified and it was captured inside that dome like freezing, that's when it almost began to crystallize. Yeah.
Interesting. I guess that was a break. I nod to Captain and to the assembly member. And then I guess we head on in.
You head on in. With a brief nod to your teammates, you step through, and initially, the first thing you feel is just like that cold, dark sensation of glass slipping past your skin. And as it begins to fade, it gives way to a thick, heavy, almost like humid air. And you find yourself stood in shallow ripples of clear water, as looking up around you, you see what looks like the beginnings of a ruined temple. And for today, we'll end the session there.
Okay.
I gotta look away when you're staring me down with daggers. I'm not sure what to say, but no matter what, it don't matter. The comical light got me wide-eyed this time. I touch your tongue tied, go ahead and make up my mind. Ooh, lips are turning blue, chemicals in you, trying to take me out of my you say why? Know you got plans, but I got the time. Heard you told a friend, now I gotta mend a little bit more than we like to pretend. If it's alright, won't you say why? Tell me your sins and I'll tell you mine. Heard you told a friend, now I gotta mend. Give it a try, baby, pull the pin.